Hi, this is Deborah from Dinglefoots, and this week I want to show you a nice spring card, and this would do for birthdays or just a regular everyday card. So first of all, I started with a white piece of cardstock, and if you can see this, I don't know how well it shows on the camera, but I used the Tim Holtz bricked embossing folder, and I ran that card through. And then I'm going to be using a few distress inks. I have old paper and walnut stain, and then I just have a little sponge to apply some of that. I have a stamp, and this just says Blossom, so that's just one I chose, and then I made a tag that was long enough to go with my stamp. So that's one thing you can always do, pick out the stamp you'll use for your card and then make your tag to fit. And I have all these little punched out daisies. I'm not going to be using all of them, but I just used a small daisy punch. And then I have some adhesive, and I have this really neat window. I cut this one, I think, from Spring Cottage on the Cricut, maybe 2 inches, I think I had it at. And then I cut this neat little swirl from the Cricut too, and this was from French Manor. So I have that, and I have a few adhesive jewels. And I think that's all I need for it. First of all, I'm going to take my old paper distress ink, and I'm just going to dip my sponge into it, and I'm just going to rub lightly over my card just to bring out that brick pattern. So just lightly rub that over. And then if you want to, you can go around the edges a little bit extra. I try not to dig into the card too hard because it will get in between your design instead of just on the top. So go around the edges just to set them off a little more. Okay, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and just do all the inky stuff first. So grab my walnut stain, and this is what I'm going to use for my Blossom stamp. So I'm just going to make sure this is inked up. And I'll just stamp my white paper here. Okay. There we go. Little stamp turned out nicely. Now I can set that aside. And for my tag, I think I'm going to go ahead and put it on first because I want to make sure that I have enough room on the bottom for it. I know sometimes I get into putting my things on my card front and then I forget that I needed some room for the greeting too. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure my tag is going to fit. Oops. There we go. Add some adhesive to the back. This one actually, maybe I'll pop this up just a little bit. I'm going to use a couple of these little foam dots. I think I'd kind of like to stick up a little bit. And these, just peel the little things off the back of the squares and put that on the front of my card. So that's on the bottom. And then I have my window, and I'm going to put that just flat against the card. So this one, I think maybe I'll use the double-sided tape for this one too. Just about the right size. So I got my hot glue gun started, and that's for the flowers. I think that'd be easiest to put them on that way. Stick our little window right here. And then for my little squiggle, it's kind of a tough thing to glue, so that's why I'm going to use the glue stick so I can just kind of get glue on it the best way I can here. And this I'm going to put on the bottom of my window, kind of hanging down a little bit. So it's going to go right there. Next I'm going to work on putting the flowers on my card. And all I'm going to do with each one is just kind of cup up the petals a little bit, just so that they have a little bit of dimension in them. One thing we could do first, I was thinking about doing it afterwards, but maybe I should do this first. I'm going to put little jewels in the center, and I think this might be a lot easier if I do this first before trying to do them after they're glued down here, because it's flattening out the petals as I do that. So I'm going to take some of my jewels and place them in the flowers before I put them on my card, just to make sure that I can get them in there. So some of these aren't that sticky. This is just a little pack I got off a really cheap sticker rack, so some of them don't really come off well. But I'm just going to start putting my jewels in and just sticking my flowers here and there on my card. And every time I put a card on, or put a flower on my card, I'm just going to fold the petals up a little bit. Just cup them up with my fingers, just to give them a little bit of dimension to my card. So, and there's no plan really where I'm putting my flowers. I'm just putting them here and there on the windowsill. So I'm going to keep doing these, and then I will come back and show you what they look like when I get them on. Okay, so I got a bunch of little flowers on the bottom of my window there. And then I think to finish off my card, I'm just going to take a jewel and put one on each side of my tag. And this card is finished. Thanks so much for watching.